So Stefy, another show this weekend,
Yes.
on Friday, and then you've got another one in April.
Yes, and then I've got one in July, then I've got one in October, and I've got one in December, so I've got 5 shows this year. But obviously first, February 15th, that's my first one of this season. So yeah, it's got to a point where I'll be glad when it's over and done with. And then day after I'll wake up and be thinking 19th of April's my next show. So it's busy, but it's all good. It's great for lads. Lads have got a great opportunity. We've got a great venue at Doncaster Dome, which I believe is one of the best small hall venues in country. We've got a cracking atmosphere, and I'm hacking away. I'm doing something correct, and people are coming and they're enjoying shows, and that's the main thing.
What made you want to go into promoting though? Because obviously a lot of boxers have tried it, and only had limited success.
I think it's just happened with natural progression. It's not something that I planned. It was something that were in the long haul. Training was my main aim, alongside Dave Bull. When I was coming to back end of my career, I knew I were at back end of my career, and we used to sit down and talk about things. And then Jamie McDonald fell on us lap when we were in lower gym, and obviously Jamie's success. What we've had with Jamie, we've worked very hard, myself and Dave and Jamie and his team, his management have done a good job behind the scenes as well, but we've done his own things training, and people have seen winning formula and success we've had with Jamie, and everything seems to just happened overnight before you know it. I've got fighters coming, having a look round, I've had to take on a bigger gym, and I'm managing 19 fighters. I've got fighters in London, and this is all in the space of like 3 years. I've got 10, 11, 12 fighters that are active daily in gym. I've got a couple of fighters that are under contract but kind of faded out. Then I've got some that that are in and out of gym. But I would say I've got 12 or 13 active fighters, including two in London. So we're doing good. And so going, like I say, from training up back of Jamie's success, then management came automatic, because obviously these fighters want to be managed. And being in boxing since I turned professional at 17-year-old back in '95, and having decent contacts running around, and I learnt the game well through John Rushton, who was my manager, and then my best friend in boxing, I would say, is Carl Greaves, who managed me for my last 5 or 6 fights, and I had a great working relationship with him. It was just a natural progression to get my managers to look after these fighters, and then obviously these fighters need work, and managing, we've all got dreams of managing fighters, but if you haven't got no promotions, if you're not promoting, are these kids going to get the right kind of work? I mean, I've got a lot of prospects, and I won't like them to be fighting in a away corner. So it was a matter of looking at doing something crazy, and I can remember someone said to me, "You must be mad to go into promoting." And after my first couple of shows, I thought, I can see why they think I'm mad. But you stick at it, and you know, there's means and ways around things, and you find what works and what doesn't, and it's all experience. This is me. I think it's my 4th promotion. Like I said at the beginning of the interview, I've got 5 planned just this year, and I found out what does and don't work. And I seem to have got Doncaster, a good working relationship with people in Doncaster, and at the minute things are working, and I've got some great prospects. So it's all rosy at Stefy Bull Promotions at the minute, and exciting.
I mean, a lot of people maybe not understand the small hall game, but it's very difficult to make a profit, isn't it? Is that something you've felt?
Without a doubt, yeah. I mean, I can remember being a fighter and thinking, when Johnny Rushton used to say to me, "Have you got your ticket money in yet? I'm struggling to break even." I used to think, that man's pulling wool over my eyes, he's just wanting my money. But small hall boxing is the hardest thing in the game. I mean, I look at Carl Greaves with envy, and I think, what a man to do what he does, promoting that many shows up and down country, keeping his fighters busy. He does an absolute amazing job. And I talk daily to Carl Greaves, and he gives me great advice and how things to do things and how not to do things. And from experience, I've discovered that it's very hard to make a profit. So I look at it as, if I can break even from my shows and I get my fighters winning, and hopefully in the long haul pull another Jamie McDonald out of the bag, then I'll be very happy. And as long as I'm not losing money, that's the main thing. But it is very hard to make any money. I mean, just to put a promotion on at Doncaster Dome without even paying a fighter, it must cost me something like £7,000 just to put a promotion on. That's with ring hire. We don't have to go into statistics, people in promoting know, but there's a lot of expense that gets paid out there, you know what I mean? And it is very hard, but as we say, it's working at the minute. These fighters are being busy, and it's great exposure, and they're all getting a chance to fight in Doncaster on their home soil, and some of them are building great fan base, so it's good. It's winning at the minute.
Now looking ahead to this weekend, top of the bill's Joe Elfidh against Tyrone Nurse.
Yes.
Two sort of fairly well-known fighters, both have quite a lot of experience. What do you expect from the fight?
Well, I mean, I'm expecting a great fight. Tyrone Nurse, like you say, has been a great servant. His dad's done a great job with Tyrone over the years and getting the right experience. He's been up and down country. I mean, I did a few rounds with him years ago. He's sparring myself. He's been up and down country sparring with the best fighters, and he's learnt his trade like that. He was a top amateur as a junior, and I really rate him as a fighter, and I rate him as a person. He's a really nice kid. I get on well with his dad, and that's why this fight was quite possible to be made. I mean, Tyrone Nurse, let's not forget, is an household name. He's a top 10 British ranked fighter. He's been to the prize fighter final, which is a massive stage, and he lost maybe something controversially. So he's got the exposure. And then Joe Elfidh has got a good record. He's had a great win against Joe Hughes, and then he went down at lightweight to have been a great fight with Kieran Farrell, which don't get mentioned much, but they had a cracking little small hall fight. Dave Caldwell will tell you about it. I mean, Joe got stopped in 5th round, but it was too even, right? Well, there were nothing in the fight. It was a great fight. And then Joe, on less than a day's notice, goes up to Scotland and fights 2-time world champion in his own backyard. We're walking to the ring, people were spitting on Joe and giving him that kind of treatment. And he showed no remorse, got in there and put in a great performance for somebody who's not been in the gym for 6 weeks. And to save a big show like that in Scotland and put in that kind of performance, it shows the heart and desire he's got. And I'm expecting a real tough top of the bill, a small all classic I'm looking forward to.
This is going to be on the Caldwell TV app as well. How much does that mean for exposure?
It's brilliant. I mean, I like Dave. I mean, he's got a very similar vision to me, or should I say, I've got a similar vision to him. He's trying to make good fights, and you've got to remember the paying public nowadays are the working class, working very hard weekly, whether it's in factories and in jobs that not the best of jobs. And they want to go and relax on a weekend. They want to go to a boxing show, in my opinion, where they don't know who's going to win. Them days have gone where you can. I mean, promoters are still doing it now. I don't need to mention any names, but a lot's happening locally. I mean, I've seen on BoxRec that one kid locally is undefeated in 6 fights, and he's fighting a kid who's won 1 and lost 3 and been stopped in all 3. This kid was a good amateur. Why is this happening? All the kidding on there. I mean, this kid will have harder spars than being in a fight in front of paying public. And people want to see hard fights. And Dave Caldwell knows I'm trying to make good hard fights, and that's why he's been very interested in covering my show. But like I say, it's great exposure for these kids. It's not affected ticket sales, and the average person who won't be at the show will get a chance to see what some of these lads are talented, what I've got and the talent that they've got. So yeah, I'm excited about it.
Other than the main event, tell us about the other lads you've got.
Yeah, well, I've got a few good lads. I mean, Conor Nixon's a standout amateur. These little small weights don't get mentioned much. I mean, Conor's only 19. He turns 20 very shortly after the show. But Conor won 5 junior titles, 2 junior ABAs, 2 schoolboys. He won a CYP title. He won 2 gold medals at the multi-nations. He won the European box hospital, didn't go because he got a conjunctivitis, so couldn't go. He's boxed at least 12-13 times for England as a junior. He had over 40 fights. I think he only lost 4 or 5 fights. So a really hot prospect. I mean, I don't want to put too much pressure on Conor because he's only very young. But he's a fighter that if the right fight come along, I'd be willing to let. He's only a small flyweight. I mean, you've seen him tonight in sparring. He's only tiny. He's walking around at 8 stone 4, 8 stone 5. But I did try to make the fight with Uzi Ahmed, offered him good money on a small all show, which I think would have been great chance for Uzi to come back. I mean, some people English title's a major title. It's to be champion of country. I mean, English titles, you see on TV. I offered him to try and make the fight for the English title, and they knocked it back for good money, which I was very surprised. I'm a bit disappointed. So I'm excited about Conor, who's going to be on the bill. Then we've got young Luke Crowcroft, who's in his second professional fight. Same again, I could have been pitching him in with a journeyman, but I'm pitching him in with a very tough Mitch Mitchell, who's only lost 2, I think, or 3 and won 1. And the win, what a great win, we beat somebody who'd like won 6 and lost 1. The kid can fight. I know he had over 20 amateurs and won a good 15, and he's trained by Isham Pickering, we all know Isham, so Isham will do the thing correct. And this kid he's took a few tickets, he'll be coming to win. Luke Crowcroft, we nicknamed the Beast, and I think people seen why we call him the Beast on his debut with a first round crushing KO victory. But the kid's only 18-year-old, same kind of thing. I mean, you've seen him in amateurs yourself in CYP final. He's won junior ABAs, he's been 3 or 4 junior titles, boxed for England, winning medals for England. So I'm very excited about the young crop we've got. So we've got them two are very young. Then we've got young Andy Townend, who's on the show against Dougie Curran, which potentially Dougie Curran, everybody knows in boxing, is a respected fighter, a lot better than his record suggests. But if he comes through this fight well, he'll be in the 10 round in his next fight. Andy's only in his 5th fight and he's in 6 frees, and he's fighting a kid that's got. Dougie Curran's took 40 tickets. You know, people want to see fights, and this is going to be a fight. So I'm excited. I mean, there's other names to go down on that bill. We've got Josh Morgan making his debut, Mickey Davis, who sells tickets in carrier bag loads, got great support, and you've seen him send 3 fights, 2 by devastating knockouts. These kids can fight. I've got a gym full of prospects. I'm very excited.
Now, you mentioned your next show a little bit there as well. You're going to have 4 title fights in that one.
Yes, already. I mean, you mentioned earlier, I'm mad to do that, but I've got Stuart Brooks, who's back undefeated in 13, and the only thing he's told me he'll get him motivated is big fights, and he wants big fights. So I've made a good fight, as long, like I say, I get on with Chris Aston. I've made a cracking fight with Alistair Warren, who was really tough, winning fighter, both in top 20, so it's a great chance for them both. So that's one fight at middleweight, and then we've got Andy Townend, fingers crossed he comes through this fight against Chris Johnson, another winning fighter who's ranked number 18 by Boxing News. That's only going to be Andy's 7th fight. Then we've got Conor Nixon and Scott Gladwin. Scott Gladwin is a winning fighter. Remember, he's got his 2 defeats have come to a very good Gavin McDonnell for Central Area Super Bantamweight title, and then a special talent in Cal Yaffe, who everybody's raving about at the minute. So knocking them 2 defeats off is 5-1-5. He's coming down to super flyweight. I'm going to let Conor go up a weight because there's not many down at them weights. That'll be for the Central Area Super Flyweight title. And then we've got Gavin McDonnell, which is in a tasty fight, what I'm really, really looking forward to, against Sean Hughes. We all know Sean Hughes had a great win over Isham Pickering, the former European king. He's challenged for the British and Commonwealth title twice. He's a former champion, and he's going to be looking at his way back in door, because I'm quite confident the winner of that fight should be going on to be challenged for the likes of the English or maybe a British title eliminator, and that'll be Gavin's only 9th fight. So yeah, 4 title fights all in one night, and then all my prospects on undercard. Like, I must be crazy, but we've all got dreams and aspirations, and I'm hoping my dream is to just keep hacking away, and if my show's better than my last show, then I'm doing something great, and I'll be happy with that.